Good morning, watch nerds. For any of you not familiar with my channel, I work to a format. You won't see my ugly face, I won't tell you what car I drive, and I won't tell you where I'm going on holiday this year. Although anybody actually really interested, it's going to be Lanzarote. What I will do is spend about 10 minutes giving you the information you require, just in case you want to buy one of these watches. If I'm looking to buy a watch, that's exactly the type of video I want to watch, but I suppose we're not all the same. All I ask in exchange is you like, subscribe and leave your comments below. So don't let me down, folks. The only other Ixdao, or Ixdao and iPose watch I've ever owned, was the 5303, which was a direct homage to the Surica with exactly the same name. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the Ixdao Mini Turtle. So this is the box it arrived in, and it's pretty good considering the price and type of watch it's meant for. It's a hard plastic case, lined with some foam, with the Ixdao logo on the top. Inside is a 2-year unsigned warranty, which probably doesn't mean anything, and 2 straps, which I'll get to later. Oh, I hear you say, but how big is it? Well, I'm going to tell you. The case is 39.5mm, the lug width is 20mm. The lug to lug is 44.5mm, and the depth, including a domed sapphire crystal with AR coating, is a fraction over 12mm. Now, once adjusted to fit my 17cm wrist, it weighs in at about 140 grams. Now, I'm delighted to tell you that it actually wears about a millimetre or so smaller than the dimensions indicate. Now, here's a picture of it sitting on my wrist. Ixdao have traditionally used the PT5000 movements in its watches. However, on this occasion, they've plumbed for the good old NH35. Okay, that's a bit boring, but in reality, it's probably all anybody actually needs. It's very reliable, inexpensive to replace if you have to, and if regulated correctly, can be surprisingly accurate. Now, it's a 3 Hz movement, which means it ticks away at 21,600 beats per hour, acts and hand winds, and it's got a power reserve of about 41 hours. Anyway, let's see how this one performs on the time grapher. In real life, this watch is running about 6 or 7 seconds faster a day, which is very good actually, especially for an NH35 movement. Now, this is dial up, it's got a spot on beat error, a good amplitude for an NH movement, and the rate's more than respectable. The 6.8mm screw down crown is very nicely knolled, or should I say shaped, and it's signed, and as an added bonus it's loomed. Unbelievably, the engagement when being screwed down is buttery smooth, and it's as good as a luxury watch. At present, the watch comes in 5 iterations. There is the dragon dial in either blue or green, and for those of you who are colourblind, this one's green. Then there are 3 versions with a sort of a wavy pattern, which come in green, blue or brown. If there's a reason anybody should buy one of these, it's because of the fantastic dial. There's a small minute track around the outside, leading into chrome surrounded indices below that. Printed below the 12 o'clock is the Ixdao logo, which I happen to like very much, and above the 6 o'clock is the water resistance and automatic. Just below the frame, colour matched and loom date window are the words Ixdao and Diver, but these are barely visible. The fence post hands and indices are well finished, and they've got chrome surrounds, although I can't help feeling that perhaps they would have been better off with gilt just to match the dial. They're filled with a generous application of BGW and iron loom that managed to last most of the night. However, the hands don't quite last as long. Here is the loom. Ixdao, like San Martin, are renowned for their case finishing, and to be honest, the case finishing on this watch is comparable with any watch I've handled, and I mean at any price. A big statement, I know, but I mean it. Now, the top of the case is vertically brushed and the sides are horizontally brushed, and the only polishing is the chamfers between the tops and the sides, also at the bottom. As you can see, there's no crown guards. It's very nicely shaped, and it wraps around the back of my wrist really nicely. and that's no doubt one of the reasons it wears like a smaller watch. Now you have to love the case back, although it's a bit different on the wavy pattern dial versions. It's a deep embossed picture of a dragon, with some basic information engraved around the outside. Needless to say, as it's a dive watch, the back screws down, which in turn aids its 200 metres of claim water resistance. So what's the bracelet and clasp like? Well, they're both the dog's doodahs. It's a 13 link bracelet, and each link is separate, which does make it a little bit fiddly to adjust, but the screw pins help this. In fact, it looks similar to the bracelet I had on my second-hour mandala, but this watch costs less than half the price. But we'll get to the price later. It's got solid end links which fit perfectly to the case, but it doesn't have quick release spring bars. Now it tapers down from 20mm, then 18mm, then back up to 19mm for the clasp. It articulates beautifully and it's extremely comfortable. The adjustable on the fly clasp is milled. It's nicely brushed and it's signed. Now it's similar, if not the same, as the one on my Christopher Wall watches, and it's excellent. Now spend £1,000 on a Swiss or a Japanese branded watch and you get something that costs about $1. All in all, I would mark this bracelet and clasp at about 9.5 out of 10. That's how impressed I am. As a bonus, Ixdao also include two rather nice straps, which to be fair are pretty good quality. There is an elasticated NATO style strap and a very nice quality colour matched rubber strap. Now because the bracelet is so nice, I won't be using either of them. But honestly, I'm pretty impressed. The bezel has a brushed ceramic insert that aligns perfectly, and it's loomed. They could have saved themselves money by putting black inserts on all the options, but they didn't choose to do that, so well done Ixdao. It is of course a unidirectional 120 click bezel. There's no backplay and there's no wobble, and the resistance is just about right. My only complaint is that it's not the easiest bezel to grip, and if it's wet, it could be a bit tricky. But anyway, let's have a little listen. So what do you reckon a watch like this will cost you? The best price I found was only £182 or $239, and that's from the Thorn store on AliExpress. And the highest price was, believe it or not, £400. Now they can be purchased either from Ixdao, Watch Dives, or as I mentioned, AliExpress. Now because it's a new model, you're going to be very lucky if you can pick a used one of these up for a while. This arrived from China in just a week, unlike the old days when it used to take absolutely ages. Well, what do I think of the Ixdao Mini Turtle? I'll get the only negative out of the way first. Now I should say the NH35 is actually a very good movement, however I would have been happy just to pay an extra £50 or so and have a Miyota 9015 inside. The rest is all positive. The value for money is incredible, the overall spec and finishing is fantastic, I love the dial, the bezel, the great loom, but what really impresses me most is that bracelet and clasp. So would I recommend it? Of course I would. Will it be a keeper? Who knows? That brings me to the end of this review, so I hope I've told you everything you need to know. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed it, click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below and enjoy the rest of your day.